Redeker from TracyKnits.com. If you're watching this video, then you must want to learn how to knit in the round using double-pointed needles. So let's get those needles and that yarn and get started. But first, make sure to visit TracyKnits.com for the pattern that goes along with this project. As you can see, we have our ball of yarn and our double-pointed needles. The double-pointed needles come in packs of 5. We will only be using 4 of them to knit in the round with this project because we aren't casting on all that many stitches, and I just like the ease of the triangle for smaller projects. So pick up one needle and begin to cast on. This is where it starts to get a little tricky. We are going to, as you can see, I'm letting the needle hang, just hanging out there. And you're going to be doing a lot of that with this project because that's part of the process of double-pointed needles, letting some needles hang and not being afraid to let them hang out there. Okay, pick up your one of the blank needles, and you're just going to start casting on. The first stitch is always a little tricky, but now you're connected and you can just cast on like you would any needle. Once it's connected, it's fairly easy. Now we are going to do it for our last needle. So it's good practice. You should be getting better by this one. You got the cast on that first stitch, which is the complicated one. And now that you're attached, it should be easy. And we're going to do 12 stitches on this one. 12. Great. Now we have all our stitches cast on our needles. And you can see they make a nice little house there, I guess you would call it. But since we're going to be going in the round, we need to connect them. Now, that looks like it's connected. It is obviously not connected yet, but it will be. Because now what we're going to do is we're going to pick up another one of these. The last one we're going to need, we don't really need that one, so let's get rid of it. And we're going to start connecting it in the round. I always push my stitches forward a little bit. You don't have to. It's whatever you're comfortable with your flat knitting. And we're going to take the yarn, obviously, that's attached to the ball. And even though this needle itself is going to hang there, we are using the yarn off that needle. It's very important that that needle, with the yarn still attached to it, be on the right, and this needle be on the left, because that's the needle you are going to be knitting into. I know a lot of people make the mistake. They start doing it just like flat knitting. They end up with a piece of flat fabric, even though they're already on their double-pointed needles. Very silly. So, I am a tight cast-on knitter or whatever, so that needle, as you could see, I struggled with a little bit for that first stitch, but it'll get easier, right? So, now we got the yarn right there. Gonna go as if to knit into that first stitch, and power attached. And ta-da! We have one needle completely in the round, and you can see we are connected. No detaching that there. And we are going to continue in the round with the next needle. Just like you did with the first one, you're going to drop that needle. Got your nice loose needle here. Knit into that first stitch. Excuse me, stick it in as if to knit. Then take the yarn off of the right hand needle. I know this seems like that's crazy because you're used to having it on the left hand needle. We're going to pretend. La la la, we're in fantasy world, we're pretending. And we're going to knit with it. And there you go. You have now knit 3 inches on your knitting, when you're knitting in the round project, you can see that is 3 inches on my little ruler there. I have knit a little tube, and this is how I know I'm at the end. Got my yarn right there. This is my first needle. There's my tail, so I know that's the beginning. And now all we have left to do is cast off. Casting off is very similar to casting on in that we're going to just finish one needle, drop it, and go to the next one. If you're an experienced knitter, you absolutely know how to cast off just by knitting 2 stitches on one needle, then slipping the first one over the second, and you're just going to keep going around like that until you have no more knitting on that left hand needle. And there you go. You got your loose needle now. You can throw that away and go to the next one. You can see if all the stitches that were on that needle cast off. Let's pick up that left needle and keep going, just like you've been doing this whole project. Nice and easy, and we're almost done with it. There we go. Second needle down. Woo! Must feel nice to get rid of them, huh? Now you're down to one needle. Look at that. Hopefully as you went along in your knitting, you got more comfortable using the 3 needles. Excuse me, 4 needles total, but having the 3 needles there. And as your tube got bigger, got a little further out of your way, so that must have made it a little easier. I know it works for me. And we are so close to being done. One more. All right, last 2. Look at that, we did it. And I'm just going to pull that through so that it doesn't get lost, since I'm not using a scissor today. There we go. And one of the 2 uses for it is this very cool cuff. Haha, look at that. And if you use it as a cuff, then it'll be there when you need it as a coffee cozy. Bring it to Starbucks. When you get that nice hot cup of coffee, it won't burn your hands. And I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and you check out some of my other tutorials and my patterns on tracyknits.etsy.com is where you can purchase my patterns, or check out my blog, tracyknits.com.